Welcome to another episode of Attribute Shift, the not very regular podcast, but it happens every once in a while, when topics come up. And today, the topic we're going to talk about, we're going to take a look at the Tier 2 division of the DPC, what happened there, and we're going to talk about UK Dota, because they've given us all kinds of great casters, and you know what? It's time for them to give us some great players, too. So into the breach, we've got Sam, the guy behind it all, along with Tanner and Ads, or as you may know him, Adzantick. Welcome, everybody. How does it feel to represent UK Dota?
Feels good.
Feels good. Okay, so I like to start off this podcast with some random, they're either related to Dota or not related to Dota, and you say, don't care, do care, didn't even know that it existed type thing, right? So whoever instantly responds, go for it. This is just a quick little back and forth real fast. There's no new Battlepass coming out.
Okay.
Not sure.
Care.
We get the team bundles, which are kind of de facto Battle Pass, right?
Yeah, the team bundles are supposed to be the replacement for the Battle Pass this year.
Yeah, which is good because it supports teams directly and doesn't necessarily contribute to prize pool that we're never going to have a chance of winning unless we get considerably better.
Okay, so overall, don't care too much about the no Battle Pass.
Yeah, I mean, the way that it is, it's good for teams like us, but it is a bit on the expensive side, so I don't think many people are going to be buying it.
Okay. Let's see. What else do we want to do? Do and don't care. Impossible to get your hands on new graphics cards. Do or don't care?
I think that's small for you guys.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't even, I mean, people frown on me for this, but I don't even have a PC. I'm an entirely laptop-orientated person. So it has literally no effect on me. I will eventually, but maybe when graphic cards are actually in supply, I can transfer myself to PC.
Yeah, so in 3 years, you'll move over to PC. Got it. Okay, so coaches allowed in the games. They were, now they're not. Do or don't care?
I think we kind of care. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a very big role to have just implemented in the upper division, and I know there's a big meme about OG not getting any email or stuff, but it is a very big role change if they were to implement it in TI and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be huge, actually.
Okay, and the whole OG secret Twitter battle going on right now. Social media Twitter battles, do or don't care?
Yeah. I think banter's always good for the game,
Yeah.
Discussion and
It's funny.
hot
The only way Dota Twitter lights up is when Secret and OG have a battle. So
Exactly.
Got it. So more visibility, more numbers, better for everybody here. Got it.
rivalry's great for the game. It's an entertainment business, right? So everyone has to entertain.
Okay, so now that, warmed up, we'll say those are the hard questions. We got the hard questions out of the way. I just want to do a brief, like I said, UK Dota does great when it comes to casters. There's I don't want to say dime a dozen because you're all wonderful. You are. But there's a lot of them. And there's not as many UK Dota pros as, take a look at Sweden, for example. For comparison. So I kind of want to know, we'll start with Tanner, what first pulled you into Dota? What got you started playing and actually invested into it?
Wow. I started playing computer games pretty young. My brother was really big into PC gaming, and he got in when he was about 12, so I would have been about 7 or 8. And I think the first computer game I played was Age of Empires 2, so kind of relates to Dota in a sense. RTS, kind of the same view model, you'd say, or camera perspective. So I think from there I just moved from Warcraft 3 into more custom games, and obviously finding Dota, Hero Wars, Hero Line Wars, and yeah, I think it was just a natural progression of gaming.
Okay, Ads, was it the same thing for you or something else pull you in?
Well, I don't have a brother. I just started playing computer games. I used to have PlayStation, but I never liked shooting games, and everyone in this country is a console gamer, so I was pretty much on my own, just playing computing like games on the computer.
Mm-hmm. And you know, for Sam, you have a whole org, all right? You were like, let me dive in and do everything. So what you got you along that path as well, especially with your laptop origins here?
Age. Okay. I mean, I still have enthusiasm for Dota. I still like playing it, but I play it maybe once in a blue moon. But I did go through a phase where I was grinding through, even before ranked was a thing, where I thought I could be good, and I got obsessed with it. And I would just play it daily, 8-hour grinds, thinking I was good. Obviously, I'm not, but that doesn't go away. I don't think. So I now live like my competitive one vicariously through Ads and Tanner, I guess, a bit.
Got it.
Like,
No.
I can represent the competitive genre like through them in a way, which is
fair.
I guess the motivation to do that. Also because of lockdown, COVID, working from home, I suddenly had a lot more time. I saw a niche, at least I thought it was a niche. I still think it is, UK Dota. That hasn't necessarily been explored, or it has been marginally, but not very successfully. And I wanted to make that a thing. And hopefully we're getting there kind of as a collective and a group, and going from strength to strength. And I think we're going to see big things from us into 2021 and then onwards, and then hopefully TI next year, even this year if we make a good run in the qualifiers, we'll see. So yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Anything could happen, right?
That's the beauty of TI. That is kind of the tagline of it. So pre-pandemic, maybe when you didn't have as much free time, but pre-pandemic, UK did have LANs. They did have some events, right? Insomnia is one. I know there's a couple of other. In Tanner and Ads, did you ever like cart your PC out to a LAN or compete in any of the local kind of stuff you had going on in the UK, or did you just throw your lot in with like the rest of Europe?
I never did anything like that. I think Tanner might have.
Yeah. Well, I went to Insomnias from like Insomnia 52 to Insomnia like 60, and then the Dota scene kind of died down a bit, but we eventually transferred to Epic LAN instead, and Epic LAN still had a kind of strong scene before the pandemic hit. Insomnia was a good place to like actually train, and there was a few EU teams that would come every year as well. Like even Thompson's been to an Insomnia before he won 2 TIs, and Ad Phenom as well. But eventually when Dota became like less of a hot topic and Overwatch came out, then Valorant, and basically I think UK gamers prefer FPS games, so the CS:GO tournament would take over, and Dota kind of died down a bit.
That it actually sounds similar to North American Dota, right? It's sort of like the US kind of has Canada to keep it afloat and like relevancy in Dota, and then everybody else is just FPS. So that kind of makes sense. I'm so curious because I come from this background of understanding DreamHack and taking a look, like you watch free to play and you see all the OGs of different form of OG there, of Dota talking about playing at DreamHack, sleeping on the concrete floor and like learning that way mid 2000s. And I feel like, Sweden has really benefited from that, and UK Dota maybe less so. So Epic LAN is one of those resources right now. I mean, are there Discords, are there in-houses, or is it really just all leaderboard Dota, and you hope that someone's just good enough from the UK to kind of like make it up there so that you can scout them?
Well, we used to have UK in-house about 2-3 years ago, but it always ended up with like basically the top players were unhappy that they would get like someone who wasn't as skilled as them on their team. I mean, yeah, and it would eventually just end up with nobody queuing, and then the in-house would die, and then it would rinse repeat. It was a vicious cycle. But I think the player base is there because being at ESL 1 Birmingham and like both of them, ESL Birmingham 1 and 2, the crowds were insane. Like the arenas were packed and people are there to watch Dota and people do play Dota. It just feels like at the higher level of Dota in the UK, it doesn't feel like people don't feel the need to be good at it. It's very hard to explain, I'd say.
Yeah, UK Dota is at everyone just cheering for the panel because that's where
Yeah.
everyone is.
So that's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's probably why we have primarily casters and not players, because we're enthused by Dota and we watch it a lot. We have a large audience. Like I think ESL Birmingham, 2019 was the biggest ESL event that they've done for Dota. Like it was colossal. It was there as well, and the audience is insane. Like the enthusiasm is there. But we maybe have 3, top players, 2 of which are in this call, and then there's symmetrical as well. We used to have Biza. But I mean, he played in the ESL Prem, but I don't know what he's doing now. He's doing his own thing, I imagine.
God.
Yeah, job and life commitments.
Yeah.
And then we have like kind of a semi underbelly. I know there's Skiffs, for example. There's Marcel, Unordinary. I don't really know anyone else who's coming up through the 4 who isn't kind of like old school, like Rhyme or someone. There's DNC as well. Am I missing anyone, Ghost?
Not really. I mean, it's very scarce.
Yeah, that's a small list of players. What's the trying to think? Is it Norway where Taiga is like the only pro player to exist for like so that's maybe that's a similar comparison where there's not as many resources. But I am curious, so we've got Into the Breach, you guys, proudly present as UK, and ESL 1 Birmingham, like you said, was huge, and UK Dota is massive. And this makes me think that UK sponsorship is potentially massive, because you have such a bigger audience there. So do you think that, and this might be a question for Sam, and I know this is new and complicated and all that, but do you think because of the popularity with a casual audience, there's the ability to pull in the money that then allows you to develop a more competitive base in the UK?
I mean, this is basically the nutshell, or the argumentation that I make when I sit down with a sponsor or a potential partner. I say, look at these demographics, look at this audience enthusiasm, look at ESL Birmingham, and look at the lack of representation in the scene, essentially. Look how many casters we have, look at, just general engagement. One thing that we saw from some demographics that we did that was specific to Reddit at least, but that Dota is maturing as a collective in terms of age, but the people that are playing end up watching, which is why we still have very good, audience numbers despite player numbers progressively declining. We're still playing in massive numbers for the upper division, for example. Even Nigma versus OG, just like casually playing in 130,000 people. Even our games, we have the
you
top
had 50,000. Yeah, you had 50,000 when I pulled it up the other day, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, let's go tier 2 Dota. Let's get more money in the scene.
So I think the numbers are there, but Dota has this weird sort of reputation where as soon as you sit down with someone or as soon as you say the word Dota, there's like this implicit idea that it's already dead. So like every conversation starts with a somewhat uphill battle. So you have to convince them that it's viable, and then you go through the same processes like, here's where you can get value, here's where marketing can be, here's the audience engagement, etc., etc., etc. But I'd say it's like some doors are already closed as a result of starting out from Dota. Something I've learned, but not complaining about, because if it was easy, then there would have already been an org that has done what Into the Breach does. And we will make it eventually. It's just a lot of kind of grafting and hard work. And then as soon as some doors open, then I think the floodgates will open. At least I'm hoping.
I mean, I'm hoping for that too. And I always talk a lot about how important role models are. And, Tanner and Ads, you're both, I mean, you've been visible and very good players. That's not new. But what's new is the kind of UK push and representation. And I have a feeling that other high MMR players aren't DMing you saying, hey, you're my inspiration to get better. But have you thought about the fact that there might be some 17-year-old kid in the UK going, oh, hey, Tanner Into the Breach is out there. Do you think about that at all? That, like, you know, maybe there's a kid who's going to actually make the push for pro and give you another UK player, or that's not really on your brain?
Symmetrical?
I mean, I would say it's on my brain at the moment. I feel like we still have a lot to prove Into the Breach, and I feel like, you know, once we do get to the upper division or something, or, you know, aim for something like TI, usually you want to stay like level-headed and like try and improve yourself first. And once we're there, once we've made it, I mean, maybe it's something to think about, and maybe like start a grassroots community in the UK. But I feel like I still have a lot to achieve and a lot to prove, and I feel like inspiring other players is maybe a bit far away at the moment.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
We do want to do that though as an organization. Like, we want to say we're community orientated and have that mean more than words. So the charity rumble that we do, for example, we also have an academy where we just pay people to get coached as a 5-man stack and get some feeling of what it's like to be in a pro team, and they can be any MMR. It's UK centric, but you know, we invite anybody to participate in that. So we want to foment some sort of grassroots movement, because again, you mentioned Discords earlier. There are Discords, like a variety of UK Discords, but they're all super sporadic. They're literally everywhere. There's no like centralized hub. I don't know if that's the case for other countries, but when you look at other communities like Rainbow Six or CSGO or League of Legends, they've all got like massive central hubs for the UK community, and it's not something that Dota has quite yet, but hopefully something we can help create. Tanner, though, nominated, or actually voted, the top 10 esports athlete in the UK.
Wow.
So representing Dota there by the British Esports Association. So
Nice.
yeah, current future role model for sure.
Yeah, you may not feel like it, but you might already be. No, it's exciting to see, and I do think you're right that we know that in Dota all of the power comes from the pro players. You know, win a TI before you talk memes are, I mean, it's a meme, but it's not exactly wrong. Successful or visible players do a lot. And that's why I want to talk about shifting away from UK a little bit and talk about the DPC and, you know, what these split leagues have done. Like 50,000 viewers on a tier 2 match is huge, and I think that has a lot to do with the leagues. So let's roll things back to when these were first announced in January 2020, February 2020. So this was pre Into the Breach. You guys were probably on different teams. What was your reaction to Valve's announcement that the DPC was going to turn into leagues that led to majors and the minors got yeeted?
I think in some regions it's like what's the word? Free money?
Yeah.
I forgot the word for it. Like NA, for
Charity?
example. No. Welfare. NA Dota welfare.
Oh.
That was it.
Okay.
I was talking to some NA people at the time, and they were saying, yeah, you just have to be like the 10th best team in NA, free NA Dota welfare. You just get paid for being bad. I don't know. And in some regions it's more competitive, like in Southeast Asia and China and Europe, but I think in some regions the Division 2 is just, even some teams in Division 1 and NA just aren't quite there, you know?
Mm.
So it's definitely good, because it supports people so that they can practice to get to being good, so they actually have something for all the time and effort they're putting into the game. So yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Tanner, if you've played through it now, you've experienced it, and if you could change something, what would you look to change And you can love something and still want to change it. So this is not necessarily a flame to Valve, although you're open to flame them if you want. Really, it's, you know, your choice.
With Division 2?
With the leagues, with the system, anything. I mean, you've played through it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I definitely think bottom 2 of Division 2 should get paid. I mean, there's no reason why these teams who play through open qualifiers, they play through 6 weeks of games, and maybe, you know, they weren't just up to scratch to, you know, playing in the league, but they definitely shouldn't be rewarded with $0. I feel like there's a big slap in the face from Valve, and it feels like they're just... Valve are making money off them through these streams and stuff, and they're getting literally 0 off it. So I think that's the first thing that would need to change. The second thing I think should change would maybe have these have matches between the teams that go up into the upper division and the teams that get relegated from the upper division to the lower division. Maybe have them teams play and see who gets, you know, promoted and demoted, right? Because I feel like it's a big change, because we saw it about a week ago. Secret could have gone straight to Division 2, and I don't know here, like, nobody thinks Secret is a Division 2. I mean, they're going to TI. They're guaranteed going to TI. How could they just be thrown down into Division 2 like so easily? I mean, of course, Division 1 isn't easy, and they lost games because of it. But I definitely think the harshness of the relegation shouldn't be as harsh, I guess.
So next steps for DPC are relegation matches, potentially, and money to the lower spots.
Yeah.
Do you, so as you talked about, you know, the welfare and how that works in different regions, do you think that the amount of money put into the leagues is the right amount?
I feel like it's fine at the moment, but obviously, you know, Valve make a lot of money off there too. I mean, you can just look at the numbers for TI. I feel like I remember seeing something on Reddit saying, like, if you put 5% of the TI winnings or TI, how much they make off TI, and just put it into leagues, it would, like, it increased the leagues by like ×2 of what they're currently making. So I know Valve make a lot of money, but obviously this is just the first season, so I assume they have ideas to change it somewhat.
And
from an organization's perspective, it's awesome for sure, because it basically gave us an in. Like, the DPC enables me to go to sponsors and go to partners and say, look, we can guarantee these numbers. We're gonna guarantee, like, we're gonna play these games, and they've got high viewership, and we're gonna play these teams, and it's a league-based system, so it's stability essentially, which is always like very important. I think what would be cool to see, firstly, what Tanner said, because it feels super brutal for, I mean, even Hippo, like, they still play, they still put effort in, put time in, like, they got the jerseys, they did the cams, all things that people might not be comfortable with, and then they leave with 0. It's a bit brutal, as Tanner put it. I think it would be nice to see as well minors, not just majors, because currently any, like, minor tournaments are always, they're dependent on third-party investment, and it's evident that the money is not quite there because all the third parties are reliant on betting sponsors, and that's never a very good, you know, indicator that it's super healthy. So even if Valve put like 25k towards a tournament, a minor, you know, where, let's say, all the middle teams in CIS and EU, whatever, they play, I think that could generate like super good viewership, and would obviously be another factor in stability and some more money, like, in some starved players' pockets, I suppose.
So something like the league ends, you have 3 weeks until the major, and halfway through that you run online tournaments where it's EU versus CIS, SEA versus China, and NA versus SA online minors.
Yeah.
That
makes a lot of sense. You don't have to play on high ping. You know, we don't have to play on high ping to play against Russia. SEA don't have to play on high ping to play against China. Same for SA and NA. Those are good matches. Like, those are pretty good matches. You know, us playing B8, for example, that would be a high viewership game, I think.
That would be a fun game.
So yeah, that would be nice to see. But
while I have 2 players here, I do have a question about that. Show matches almost never happen in Dota, right? But think of how easy it could be for a sponsor to come in and say, hey, I want to run a best of 5 between these two teams. I'll do a $5,000 prize pool. Is that interesting for? It's basically a public scrim. Is that interesting for players? What number does that prize pool have to be? Like, is there, like, because nothing's on the line, it's or not that much is on the line, it's not exciting? I've always been curious about this.
If a sponsor were to do that, I feel like the teams may not take it as serious as actual tournaments. I think that'd be a big problem. Unless they incorporated some fun aspect into it, so maybe have like a viewer come and play or sub in. I mean, they did it at TI, right, where they had viewers play with the pros. Or maybe they incorporate it into a different game mode like Overthrow or something. But I definitely think just having two teams play each other for a show match, especially if the money incentive isn't big enough, the teams might not take it as serious as, let's say, I don't know, a relegation match or something.
Because $40 million for TI,
Yeah.
even if it's really far away, you take a lot more seriously than a $5,000 show match.
Of course.
So Ads, if it was a silly game mode, do you still want to play it, or does that distract you from actual prep and everything for games that do matter?
I think Tana has more experience in silly game modes than I do. I think he won the last Red Bull River Runes thing and some silly game mode. I think they're fun.
Maybe all
Dota.
random deathmatch. Maybe all random deathmatch is the play for show matches.
Yeah, I think so. Like, both teams just having fun. There's like nothing really on the line. It's just a lot of fun.
It'd be awesome to have an equivalent of what's the Beyond the Summit tournament that they run? Midas.
Midas mode is Moonduck. Yeah.
Okay, but that's jokes. Like when they were streaming that, it's like super funny. It would be good to have an equivalent of that, even in Russia, just literally anywhere. Like more quirky game modes that aren't necessarily just super competitive Dota, that could be charity based or could get viewers involved or audiences. Or again, I think there's a lot of scope for that, especially in between DPC and next seasons. So in between majors or something.
There's also, I don't know if you ever saw them, but Sir Action Slacks used to do these huge streamer tournaments called Dirt Mall, where the streamer had to play with their viewers, and it was a big tournament with all these streamers against each other. And it would get really dirty because some people would hire pros to come in and play as ringers, as their viewers, and they would rig the whole thing. I think that's what we need for like off-season DPC. I don't know. Would you guys do it? If we get Slacks to run Dirt Mall again, would you sign up?
I feel like it'd be healthy for Dota. I mean, definitely something that involves viewers. Like, I could imagine they'd be excited, but I'm not sure about hiring the pros.
T-Gov could totally run that. I mean, he's got a Slacks kind of vibe. Obviously, he's super intelligent and knows the game really well, but maybe he could be our equivalent of that in Europe anyway.
Okay, so I wanna wrap this up with some wishful thinking, something fun, right? Because we're talking about fun team modes and sponsor matches and stuff like that. Don't think about the sponsors that exist in Dota, right? Like don't think about betting companies or Asus monitors or Secret Lab chairs or anything. Think about what you would like die to have sponsor you. If you were like in an ad or had unlimited Chipotle for life because they sponsored you to eat it every single day on that camera when like Dream League's running the camera. Oh my god. Of course, like the most UK thing ever.
Greg is a great shout. We literally considered, for the sprays for our fan thing soon, like just having a sausage roll and just putting British cuisine underneath it. We might still go for that, but I don't know. But yeah, it'd have to be Greg's or Nando's, Yorkshire tea. There's so many classics. That we could have. Tanner, what do you think?
I mean, why settle with like one brand? Why can't we have something like Uber Eats? I saw Beyond the Summit got an Uber Eats deal or something like
God.
that. That would be so good. Just having those discounts of food.
Deliveroo.
Yeah,
Hit us up,
exactly.
guys.
The Uber Eats segments from Beyond the Summer were some of my favorite. There
Oh,
was
yeah.
one where they ordered all different kinds of French fries and then had a competition for how high you could build a tower out of like curly fries, crinkle cut like normal. I was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. So that's the content we need.
Exactly.
I think Mason was at that one.
I'm familiar with who was at that one. That's a separate conversation we don't need to get into. There's some history that we don't need to talk about, but that segment was great. Uber Eats great. So all food, you don't have any like
DHL as well. Like Birmingham, that became a massive meme. Like DHL was a fan favorite. And then Slacks with his fucking robot flying around.
Yeah.
Throwing out prizes dressed as a DHL delivery man. I mean, that's just like optimal content. I don't think you can get better than that. So DHL would be a good one as well.
Got it. So that's what you guys feel like personally on brand. You could pull off those sponsorship deals.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
if they come to you, Greg's come to you and they're like, listen, all right, we want to invest in Dota. You have to eat a sausage roll every night on stream. Okay. Show off the branding and everything. You can do that? You're not on board?
I could do that.
Ads, what did you get? What did you get from Greg's for the
I got a 7 fried chicken. Wait, is it? Yeah, baguette thing. Heated up.
baguette?
Yes, from Just Eat.
Where's the steak bake?
I don't like steak baked. I do. I just don't get them actually. Sausage rolls are good.
We are filming around dinner time in case anybody was curious. For me, it's the middle of the day. For them, they're probably hungry, and I'm like sitting here making them sit on a podcast. So we're gonna wrap this up. We are actually about to do a bunch of other content because if you didn't know, Into the Breach has a YouTube channel. They're really looking to build up the content and stuff that they're doing there. So if you're watching this podcast, you should also check out the links and go look them up. And their Twitter has their link to everything. And I'll link it in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, etc. So you're going to find other content there. We're going to wrap this one up. Before we go, any shout outs that you guys want to make for stuff people should check out? Your streams, a random project you have, what team people should go cheer on at the major, whatever floats your boat.
Shout out to the Into the Breach Twitter guy. I feel like
Yeah.
creates some great memes. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, some good
I feel
memes
like
actually.
Every game he's always cheering us on and he's creating some excellent content, so definitely give him a follow.
Best member of ITB for sure. Give him a follow. Join our Discord. That would be great. We run the charity rumble as mentioned. Any team can play of any ability. We run the academy as well. Various initiatives. We raise money for charity often. Watch our streams. Buy our bundle when it comes out. And maybe Ads and Tanner will stream at some point. That would be cool. Yeah, go check them out. Fishman also streams.
Got it. Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of Attribute Shift, where we do our best to show you another side of Dota that you don't always hear or talk about. So they publish incredibly randomly, but you know what? Thanks for finding this one. And if you subscribe to this channel, it's not going to spam you with notifications because we only upload like once every 3 months. You're welcome. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.